Sal Capaccio's checking in. We had a long weekend, right?
He's fresh off. I think he took Max to his first NBA game this weekend.
All right, gonna want to hear about that.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. Had a great time last night. Went to Toronto. Took in the Raptors against the Nets. Really cool.
Nice.
I'd actually never been to Scotiabank Arena, to be honest with you guys.
For
really
anything?
Nice arena. No, had never been there for anything. So that was good. It was really nice. It's a nice arena. I liked it. I liked the experience of it overall, to be honest with you. And then the game itself was good. I mean, it was like they had 60-something points. I can't remember the halftime score, but I'm like, oh my God, they're on pace for like 130 points. I think that's about what they wound up with. I didn't honestly pay attention to the overall score. I just know that it was close late. Then the Raptors pulled away. It was really cool. We had a great time.
Yeah, nice. I've been there for hockey. I've never been to that arena for basketball.
I've been there once for basketball, and it was also a Raptors-Nets game. But I got a buzzer beater at the very end. They're fun this year, too. They're in second place, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was like building was packed. They're probably getting fans back.
Yeah, building was pretty packed. I mean, I guess there were. It seemed like it was a 6 p.m. Sunday game.
Yeah.
It was a good vibe. It was a good vibe. I would say it was pretty packed. And then, of course, you have to buy a jersey for the kid, right? So we bought like one of those City Connect Raptors jerseys, right? Not even like a Raptors fan or anything, but you go into the game, and I don't really care about either team playing, but I wanted to get away a little bit. And that was the other part about it, right? Just getting away on a weekend, a little bit of a mini buy. So was able to do that, kind of recharge a little bit and step away from football. I will say, though, on the way up, because it was a 6 p.m. game, on the way up, I basically I asked Jan, I said, can you drive so I can kind of pay attention to what's going on with the football games around the league? And I was dialed into Red Zone, and I had that Bengals-Patriots game on, and I was checking in on all the different games.
I am very thankful my wife has also assumed the role of if there is a big game on, she knows, I'm driving so that I can watch a game on my phone.
The witching hour yesterday was nuts between the overtime. We had some overtimes and some late comebacks. Maybe the game that Bills fans might have watched the most of, Sal, would be the Chiefs and the Colts. And for a moment there, here the Colts up 20-9, and the reaction is like, all right, maybe they really are for real. And then it was like jumping back into a time machine, right? Watching the team kind of wither and kind of get a little weak and a little scared. And then for the first time this year, the Chiefs were able to do the thing that we all remember them doing a million times, which is, just pull it out like they always do at Arrowhead.
Yeah, and I think yesterday overall, just the whole week just wasn't a great week for, the Bills and standings, and they did it to themselves though. It doesn't matter. They lose on Thursday night. If they win on Thursday night, it's kind of status quo. You come here and I look at the standings. They're sitting there in the 7th seed now, and look who's right behind them in the 8th seed. The team they're playing coming up next Sunday, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, if the Pittsburgh Steelers win, the Bills are not only out of a playoff position, but they got a lot of work to do because they would have tie-breaking losses to both the Steelers and the Texans, who are right behind them. So yeah, there's a really, really big game coming up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you look at the divisions overall and how the seeding is working out. Suddenly the Ravens now are on top of the North. And if the Bills beat the Steelers, they'll continue to kind of allow that to happen a little bit. If the Bills track towards the 5 seed, you could be looking at going to Baltimore. Then again, maybe Indy falters and Baltimore catches the 3 seed and the 4 seed winds up being Indy. So there's so much to be played out here, obviously. But New England winning in Cincinnati, man, Cincinnati had some shots. Did you guys see? I can't believe Cincinnati didn't go for it on 4th down in the 4th quarter there near midfield. They did that whole thing where they brought the tight end in and did the hard snap count, looking like, and moving Flacco out of the under center. And I'm like, come on, man! Like you're the Bengals. You're down here. Midfield's a 4th quarter. They needed 2 yards. They didn't go for it.
Your record is what it is too. It's like you show a little bravery, I guess, in that moment. And the pick six that Flacco threw earlier in the game was like one of the worst pick sixes of the year. It was so bad. That was a tough one to not get your way, especially when, like, Sal, the end of that game, the Bengals are trying to drive to win it. There's no Burrow on the field. There's no Higgins on the field. There's no Chase on the field. And, New England's had some breaks with their schedule this year, but when the Bills see Cincinnati, probably all 3 of those guys might be available.
No, that's probably right, Joe. And then even, Drake May he had 294, which is nice, but he wasn't incredible yesterday. After a little while, obviously, he made some throws. By the way, the most frustrating thing about watching New England this year, and I can't like wrap my head around the fact that, okay, like this is happening all the time. So obviously you want to give them credit. They're doing something right. But man, like it's got to go the other way on these 3rd and longs. They just convert 3rd and long after 3rd and long all the time. They're in 3rd and 11. Bam, there's a 13-yard pass. They're in 3rd and 8. Bam, there's an 11-yard pass. Just all the time. They're connecting on these 3rd and longs. And, here we are with the Bills who have Josh Allen, and we're like, they can't seem to get out of their own way on offense at times, right? And that's why it's so frustrating. I'm watching that game yesterday, and it's like, okay, Bengals have them now. Again, Bengals did a nice job on defense yesterday for the most part. Here come the Bengals. They have them 3rd and long. Bam, there's another big play and throw by Drake May and a catch, and the sticks keep moving. So that was pretty frustrating.
Sal Capaccio joining us on the Western Hotline. Bills lose to the Texans on Thursday Night Football. We look ahead. Pittsburgh will be up next. They were scrappy in a game against the Bears, but ultimately lost. And it looks like they'll be getting Aaron Rodgers back for this game, Sal. He did not play yesterday. It looked like he was going to, but did not. So a fully healthy or whatever, good enough Rodgers for Sunday, 4:25 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin basically indicated after the game that Aaron Rodgers should be available to play against the Bills. So I don't know what that means as far as his wrist and how capable he'll be to do things, but obviously they're not going to put him out there if they don't feel that he can do enough. He was close to playing in this game apparently, and obviously he always wants to play. He wanted to play. He pushed to play. They held him back. It was a non-conference game, but they wind up losing the game. So now their backs are against the wall, and Aaron Rodgers comes back. But it's challenging. Even last year, guys, we saw when Josh hurt his hand week 1 against Arizona, and he was on the injury report for quite a while, and there was a lot of speculation he actually broke something in his hand in the way he was playing. You could see that Josh was handing the ball off different even when he turned to his right. Mm-hmm. Normally when a quarterback turns to his right to hand the ball off, he puts the ball in his left hand for the running back. When Josh was dealing with that, he did not do that. What he did was turn right and use both hands to hand the ball off. So I wonder how that compromises Rodgers taking his snap. Everything. It's going to be interesting to see from that standpoint. Of course, Bill's dealing with their own set of injuries as well. Sean McDermott gave an update on that on Friday after I spoke with you guys.
And for that this week, like who Brown and Bernard are probably the top two, or are we assuming that those are two players that wouldn't? Are we thinking maybe we're not tracking them this week because they wouldn't be available?
I don't think either would be available this week based on, we don't know about Brown. He said still evaluating, but I mean,
yeah,
he was pretty sore after the game. His arm was in a sling. He didn't finish the game. Terrell Bernard was termed week to week. Actually, to be honest with you, I believe McDermott did kind of say he did not expect them to be ready for this week. If I remember correctly, I have to go back and look at my notes now. Bernard and Spencer Brown, he didn't think they'd be able to play this week, but we'll see on that, obviously. Maxwell Harrison is in concussion protocol, so that is one that we will monitor this week. Christian Benford and A.J. Epinesa both exited the game, but he said they should be fine, so that's good news. He did say Josh Allen is sore, but he's expected to be fine, and obviously you can understand that with the kind of the beating that he took. And then Dalton Kincaid, Fedarian Mathis, and Curtis Samuel are all improving. Obviously, none of them played in the game on Thursday.
Are the injuries piling up to a place, Sal, where, like we were talking about the division last hour, how the Bills might need to run the table and have New England only win 2 more games to get back into it. It's far away from them at the moment. That idea that they could go on a run like that in December, the Bills have a very good track record in December, right? Under Sean McDermott, they've won a lot of games. And they did this 2 years ago where they tracked down Miami from 3 back, winning the rest of their games. Do you feel like the injuries are maybe one thing that just would stop you from thinking that they could go off on like a 5-6 game win streak at the end here?
For sure. I mean, like their depth is being completely tested. They're pretty depleted up top in a lot of ways. I think injuries are a big factor of what's been happening to this season, but it goes beyond that. They just haven't been able to find the right formula offensively. And, we've talked many times about why that is for a lot of different reasons, whether that's personnel, scheme, all those kinds of things. And it's all true, right? And they really haven't been super injured on offense, although I think the most important guy that they need to catch passes, Dalton Kincaid. When he's not on the field, it is a much, much different task, and it's been harder for them to move the ball. There's no doubt. So that's one. I think defensively is where you're really getting a lot of those injuries. And yeah, Joe, when I look at the schedule and I look at what's ahead of them, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a grind. I think that you're right. that over the last several years, their record under Sean McDermott in December has been pretty phenomenal, actually. You get past Thanksgiving and they just seem like they, do a great job of kind of rallying and winning the games they need to win. There's a couple differences this year, though. Number one is what we just talked about. The roster's depleted. They have not as many healthy bodies, and you're getting down into guys who are on the field for you now in critical situations, and that's tough. And the other thing is the Patriots, right? I mean, where they are. And it's not like if you drop a game still in December, you should be kind of coasting here. I know that they've had to come back against both the Patriots and the Dolphins, respectively, over the last few years from being behind in the standings. But right now, you're looking at the Patriots having a pretty commanding lead of the division. And just to put it in perspective for everybody, the Bills obviously are 2 losses back. So 2.5 games because the Patriots haven't had their bye. So let's just say 2 losses. It's really 3 because it's head to head. But even if you beat New England still has to lose a division game, because if you split with them, the first tiebreaker is division record. New England's 3-0. The Bills are 2-2. You can give them a second loss, but then New England would have to have another loss on top of that. Then you go to conference record right now where they're 6-2 and you're 4-3. So this is a pretty tough task.
Yeah. Excuse me. Tall task, but do what's in front of you. I guess
That's
as
right.
best you can. And Sal, like we've seen this team sometimes in the past, like come together when there's adversity, or just rally around each other. Whether that's a story about a coach or whatever it might be, like 6-6, firing a coach, firing a coordinator. I just wonder what the angle is this time, right? Like maybe it was Steve Tasker talking about like success fatigue, about winning a lot and you're at the same spot a lot, and that can be something you kind of got to push through. But one thing that is true is they are always awesome, and I say always, like in December. The December record is just
14 and I just looked while you were talking. It's 14-1 in their last 15 games.
Yeah,
in December.
And is the one who'd they lose to?
The Rams last year,
Rams.
44-42.
Gotcha. Okay. So here comes the time of year where they tend to find it. Whoever they no matter who's a part of it.
You're not counting there. Obviously, January losses too, right? End of the year, like New England last year, right?
You're right. You're right. I only have December.
No, I'm just curious because
December.
I'm thinking end of the year. There was a New England one last year, obviously.
Yeah, with Trubisky.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, guys.
But a game that they would win if they wanted it. If they wanted it, they would have had that.
Right.
For sure. The point is right, Jeremy. I think though that this is the same thing I talk about, and I did this last week on the Extra Point Show, and people calling in and they want this person fired or that person fired. Like, look. To me, like it's putting the cart before the horse. Let the season play out. Like you have to play each game. The season's not over. There's still 6 regular season games left, which is quite a bit, and then there's the playoffs left. None of us knows how this season's going to play out. None of us knows what's going to happen around the league. There's injuries around the league all the time. I mean, even the Patriots yesterday, they lost their left tackle. The top pick. What's his name? Will Campbell. Yeah. I don't know the status. I haven't seen anything on him yet.
Week or 2. I think it's an MCL sprain.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, you never know. What I'm saying is, like, anything can happen over the next few weeks. And even if the Bills wind up as a 5, 6, or 7 seed and they, get into a wild card, well, then you have opportunity still to try and win games. Is it tough? Sure, it's tough. But you don't have to make decisions on the 2025/6 Buffalo Bills until that time comes. You don't have to play this all out right now. Yet what you have to play out is what's going to happen November 30th at 4:25 p.m. against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that sounds like a cliche, right? Oh, one game at a time. That's truly what you have to do, though. I mean, that's how they have to approach this. They have to approach this one game at a time, 1 week at a time. And yeah, there is some success fatigue that comes with it. I think the Chiefs are going through that a little bit. There's a lot of football that's been played, right? These teams, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, they've played like a whole extra season, basically, it seems like, over the last few years. If you add up all the extra games, that's a lot, right? So I think there's a lot of that goes into it. But at the same time, you can't just rush to January and say, well, this is going to happen, so make the decision now. We don't know what's going to happen. So all you can do is prepare for this week for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then we come back and we watch on Sunday. We come back on Monday. We talk about it. We dissect it. And if the Buffalo Bills lose to the Steelers, obviously they're out of a playoff position at that point. If they win, then obviously they're still in a pretty good position to kind of feel like you're, at least going to have an opportunity to get to where you need to be at the end of the season as far as postseason play.
Sal, with this mini bye, is there any player or position even that you could see evolving whether it's more or less for somebody. Like Hairston was somebody I thought of, but he's got an injury, right? It's someone that you could see more put on their plate. Does anyone else come to mind for you, or does Hairston make sense for that?
I wonder about Jordan Hancock. I wonder if they want to play Jordan Hancock a little bit more as they go forward. I think that, you've seen, and I go to the defense, and honestly, the defense looked really good in the second half, right? They did what they could, and, Davis Mills was the quarterback. I get that. But I still think they need some more speed out there. And I'll be the first to tell you guys, I think that Jordan Poyer has actually helped this defense. He hasn't hurt them. Now, he hasn't been great. He's obviously, you see that there's definitely not the same athleticism as years ago, but I think we've seen the impact he's helped make with Cole Bishop. But you also see sometimes there where you just like a little bit more athleticism there. And I wonder if that's maybe someone with Jordan Hancock. And then obviously, I think coming out of this bye, guys, I mean, a big story is going to be Keon Coleman. So you want to talk about more, Joe? How about Keon Coleman? Yeah. How about asking more of him? How about getting more from Keon Coleman on and off the field? If he can do the things off the field he's supposed to do, then maybe you get more on the field. I think that's got to be a huge storyline. And another one, Thad Brown was talking about this. I was on the BKL show on Channel 4 yesterday. And, Thad said, if you go look at it, Elijah Moore is actually winning more than he's losing that people realize. And he's a guy that you might want to start looking at getting the ball a little bit because he's actually – He's open a little bit more than you realize. But unfortunately, last game, Josh Allen getting pressured like he has, you don't realize that. But maybe there's something sneaky in there where you can start to incorporate.
Yeah, the other guy I was wondering about for this is Prater just their kicker to the end of the year? Like, he missed the extra point last week. Otherwise, he's been pretty solid. But we had talked about him earlier in the year, how at his age, as the weather turns, maybe that's around when you would make a change. Is that on the radar at all? Because I don't know that I've heard anything about Tyler Bass in weeks.
It's a great question. We wanted the same thing. I would have thought by now maybe we would have heard more about Tyler Bass coming back. He is kicking. We know that. He's not at the actual practices kicking. He can't do that with the team. He can do it on his own, separately from the team, from actual official practices. But he has been kicking. We know that. Sean McDermott tells us that. I just... until we can't see him at practice, so I don't know where that is, Joe, right? So how do we know? And honestly, I know Matt Prater did miss that extra point. It was a big extra point, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's been good this year. Matt Prater's been good. He's been reliable. He's been consistent overall. And I don't know. You're right, Joe. Maybe you get to the next few weeks and we just don't hear anything about Tyler Bass coming back, or we're not going to hear from McDermott today because he spoke Friday. So the next time we'll hear from him is Wednesday. And, it's also possible that he says, hey, Tyler Bass is coming back. The other thing you have to remember, Tyler Bass would count as an IR to return guy if you do that. And, they've already put so many guys on IR. If you're going to get Ed Oliver back at some point, now maybe that could happen in the playoffs. You do get two more for guys. You're going to get him back at some point. Are you going to bring back who else could be on this? I'm trying to think of anybody else. I mean, at this point, Tyline Grable's probably not playing. I haven't heard nothing about him.
Hamlin, maybe?
Hamlin or Rapp, but I guess you wouldn't have to. So yeah, I guess you could do that numbers-wise. It probably would make sense unless they put anybody on IR now, which, by the way, Terrell Bernard and Spencer Brown, Sean McDermott was asked on Friday, are either of them a candidate to go on IR? And he said he didn't give a yes or a no on that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Sal.
All right, guys, you got it.
Sal Capaccio on the Western Hotline.